Hello and good morning. You can see that I am in the basement in our storage room. You can hear the washer running because I'm washing my sheets. The furnace may kick in because it's cold again this morning, but I am starting on meal planning. I said I was going to do that yesterday and I never got around to it, and today it is going to happen. So I've got the stuff that I need. I will walk you through what I do. Let me show you here. I've got my paper, I've got my bag of Ziplocs, and I'm going to write down what I do have in my freezer and on my shelves so that I can use those items to start meal planning. Really good tip. Search through what you have. Make sure that you've got a list of what you've got going on in your pantry, on your shelves, in your kitchen, and if you have a storage room, then having a list of those things too, and then checking your fridge, even your freezer, and making sure that you know what you already have on hand so that you can dig up those chicken breasts that have been sitting in the bottom of the freezer for however long that need to be used up, and get those used up in some sort of dish during the next week or two, whatever you're planning for. We've been doing 2 weeks. Like I said, my last 2-week plan kind of failed. I've been doing great before that. I was so proud of myself, but pride goes before a fall, right? So I'm going to plan really well again, make sure that I can pull off a full 2 weeks. In these 2 weeks, I have to take into account that Clancy's birthday is in there, Father's Day is in there, and we're also going to have his mom and dad out and share a meal with them. So I also need to plan on having a couple of extra people. Plus we've been seeing Riley and Cecily, so I would imagine that we may have another meal in there with 9 people, not just 7. So taking those things into account, allowing for that, I'm going to get started on it. I will make my list. I won't bore you with going through what I have on my shelves. You can kind of get an idea by looking behind me. But I will get that done, and then I will show you a little bit of my process, and hopefully it inspires you to go ahead, do some inventory, and start planning meals from that perspective. So I've made my list. There's actually a lot less down there than you would think by looking at what's on the shelves, but I have a whole bunch of canned homemade applesauce and crabapple jelly and stuff like that that takes up quite a bit of space down there. I've already had a running list of things that I knew I needed to pick up from Costco this time. I also have a list started for our regular grocery store. I took a list of shelf items down there, our dry hash browns, canned beans, like pork and beans type idea, some canned chicken, tuna, pineapple, but this is it for basically canned goods and cereal. And then I did our freezer, and this list is actually really short too. I want 1 pork shoulder in there, some ground pork, ground turkey, a little bit of chicken breast, hot dog smokies, chicken tenders, wraps, bacon, and lunch meat. In order to keep a budget and try to stay on budget, I will take those things now and I will think of recipes that I already have that I really like and figure out what I need to go with these items, if I need to pick anything up, or if I can make meals out of those items. I do still have, I think, 3 or 4 meals on my 2-week meal plan from the last 2 weeks that I have most of the items to make. So I am going to add those meals to my next 2 weeks worth of list so that I'm not having to shop for a full 14 meals. But like I said, I do have some kind of special meals in there that I need to plan for and allow for a couple of extra people. So I've started my process of building a list. I'll show you that in a second, because as I'm doing this, of course, we need to eat today. I still have a few meals left on the list that I have going, like I explained. So what I'm doing is, I was thinking burgers tonight, but my meat is just so frozen and we use so much of it that there's no way that it'll be thawed out in time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start some beans. I'm going to soak them for a bit and then I'll use them in my Instant Pot, because I have chicken enchiladas on my list and I planned on using canned chicken this time instead of frozen chicken. So I'm going to get that going, and like I mentioned, I have frozen meat there in my sink for now, just thawing out so that I can start the process of making burgers for tomorrow night. So that will take up 2 of the meals from my current list, and that means I'll only be bumping 1 meal over onto the new list. So real life here is that we got the call that Bailey's glasses are done and we can go and pick them up this afternoon. So I'm the one who needs to drive her in because Clancy is working, Bailey has taken Addison for a walk, work out some of those wiggles. Tiggy is trying to finish off her schoolwork. I ended up visiting for about 2 hours with a neighbor lady this morning, and I can't even begin to tell you how good it feels just to visit with somebody else. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and it just kind of fills you back up again, you know, just that chance to visit with someone that you wouldn't usually visit with. So I'm like out of breath here, even though I'm dressed for working out, and this would usually be the time that I would jump into doing that. Instead, I am jumping into the shower and getting ready to go. I prepared an enchilada sauce. I will leave a few instructions for the boys, and they are going to have to finish off building our supper while Bailey and I are out, which actually works for me. I love it when they have to kind of be pushed into building life skill. Otherwise, I find that I'm one of those parents that just does it because I'm just used to doing it and it's my job. Any stay-at-home moms out there that get that, because it's kind of, I feel like, a job description. So anyway, my meal planning is on hold. I will get back to it. I will show you more of what I've done, and I'm hoping to finish that off later on this evening. All right, showered, dressed, excuse to wear jeans, salty hair, don't care, favorite shirt from Panama. I love buying shirts while on vacation. Anybody else with me? Because then when I wear them, it's like a little piece of vacation on your body, and it just has these memories that go with it and that feel-good feeling. We came home to Chef Kieran having everything completely under control.
Yep.
Nice work. Nice job, guys. Thanks.
Kieran did 99%.
Thanks, Kier. Supper is done. The boys did a fantastic job. Everybody's cleaned up. We're about to head out on a bike ride, because this girl is anxious to have a bike ride. We need to cut these bangs. But I just wanted to hop back on here again about meal planning. One of the things that I do is I keep my other lists of meal planning for the last couple of weeks or last couple of rounds, because it helps me to remember the meals that I do like to cook, and obviously stuff that I tend to have in my pantry. Addison is running her fingers up my arm and is totally shaking the camera. No, thank you. So I have collected those, and I have been working on my list. Let me show you my list and the method that I use in order to get everything organized here. This is an old list, and as you can see, I usually do at least 14 meals. This one has a few tacked onto it. It also has a box with some lunch ideas in it, and I also do kind of like what the main food will be and then what the side food will be. So I've gone with that again. And as you can see, here are some meals that I've chosen. So I've written down taco salad. Well, what do I need for taco salad? Taco chips, ground beef, cheese, avocado, salsa, sour cream, that sort of idea. We'll have a breakfast supper again in there somewhere. So we have hash browns, sausage, eggs, pancakes, so that I know what to keep on hand for each of those meals. And then it's really easy to make my grocery list, because I can go through here and go, do I have this meat? Do I have this main? And then do I have all of these extras here in this column? And I can just add it to my grocery list, which I'll show you is right here, and it's still in its very raw format. I had showed you earlier, but I've considerably added onto it. And then I will take this list, and you could actually just organize it right from the very beginning, which is a good idea, but I tend to just write it out quick in my phone, because I never forget my phone when I'm going to Costco. And I usually start over on like the bread side, and then the meat side, and then the fresh veggies, and then over into dairy and stuff like that. So I will reorganize this list in that format to make it super easy for going through the store, so I don't have to backtrack multiple times. One of the things that got me into meal planning are some books that I'm going to show you here. This is not a paid endorsement. This lady totally has my respect. She has 7 kids. I can see why she started doing this, and she did it at a time where people were struggling with meal planning and whatnot. There are a lot of resources on YouTube and online, but these are the resources that I started with. Sandy Richard is the author, and we have the Family Dinner Fix and Dinner Survival, and these are the 2 that I started with, and these are all about meal planning. The great thing about them is that they have grocery lists in the back of them, and it makes it super easy. And I used to shop with these because they were actually aligned with the store that I would go shopping at, and it's broken up so well. Meats, dairy, produce. Over here you can see spices, baking goods, things like that. This is one that I got from our thrift store, and I really haven't used it much, but I do plan on using it. And actually, I was just realizing I need a couple of chicken recipes, so maybe I'll browse this and see if I can make something from it. The only thing with cooking from those is that I really do typically need to go to a regular grocery store. If you ever want my meal ideas, like on what we eat over a 2-week period, so that you can kind of build your meals out of it, I do mostly shop from Costco. It is 5 minutes from our house. It's super convenient, but it does kind of change what you cook because of the fact that I buy in large quantity because of how many of us there are. And there are a lot of things you can't actually get at Costco. And so it really does affect what you eat when you meal plan with around what Costco has available. As you can see, I still have 3 meals open. So what I'm going to do is Google 2 meals, looking at what I have available here in my list of what we have downstairs. So say I have pineapple and chicken or things like that. I will take those things, something from the freezer, something from the shelf, and I will Google those ingredients and come up with a new recipe to try. I will probably also leave 1 open. It doesn't hurt to have 15 or 16 meals planned instead of only 14. What I do when I'm going through Costco is I watch for things that are on sale, and it's always fantastic to base a meal or 2 on, say there's a meat sale on chicken drumsticks or on ground beef or ground pork. What I will do is I'll stock up on a couple of those, and then that gives me the chance to make a meal out of those. So that way I'm also buying things that are on sale, so I'm getting a better price. I will also go through the freezer department. If you haven't watched our last Costco haul, there were beef bulgogi wontons, and I purchased those, and we used those as a dinner, and it was actually fantastic because it was a really quick dinner for a night that I was feeling kind of tired and needing some motivation to get through supper. And we were quite late that night too because we had family drop by to visit. So having things like that on hand, leaving some space open in your meal planning so that you can grab things that are on sale. One of the tricks I heard long ago, even when I was in school, from a man who worked at a grocery store, was that if you are shopping from a flyer, look at the front page of the flyer. That's what they're selling cheap in order to get you to come into the store. And one of the other YouTube ladies, Fun Cheaper Free, Jordan Page, I've noticed that she says the same thing. Shop off that front page. If it's on sale, that's what they're using to get you in there. If you need that meat or whatever, then write it down on your list and plan your meals around that, and it'll save you money. I went ahead and Googled a chicken with pineapple tidbits recipe, and I came up with a couple of different ones. So I've added that to my list of dinners that I can make, and so now I've got enough. I'm going to look for some other things on sale, and hopefully they have meat on sale again. It's been a little while since I've seen much on sale for meat. But I'm going to head off tomorrow morning and do this Costco haul. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, for seeing how I do my meal planning. I hope it inspires you to look through your pantry and plan your meals, and that it will help you to save a few dollars and use up what you have on hand. Thanks so much for watching.